Hello, friends. Welcome back. I don't know if this is a podcast or if this is just like a yap sesh, but let's just pretend like it's crossover or both. So, today let's talk about impermanence, the concept of impermanence. So, last week when we talked a lot about the idea of decentering relationships and decentering men and women alike from being like the main focus, I want to talk about the impermanence of doing that and how that can tie into it. So when we're speaking about impermanence, we're looking at like the concept that everything changes, everything good, everything bad, everything stable, everything is changing no matter what. That's just the way the world and the universe works. Like, no matter what we go through in life, there's going to be a change, whether that's for better or for worse. But it's about how to learn to accept impermanence into our life, to let it work for us. Because when we're in a really, really good place, we may not want anything to change, but when we're in a bad place, we want everything to change. But when we look at the concept of impermanence, the thing is like if things are good, then they can also get better. But if things are bad, then they can also get worse. But it's about accepting and leaning into it. This is something I still struggle with. I am a control freak and I absolutely hate change. I'm type A. I don't like change. But leaning into change and leaning into impermanence and understanding that like things will just shift and change has allowed me to really be present in my life. And being present is something that I've always struggled with because I want to plan my future and I want to plan this and that and all of these things. So I want to plan everything out as it's going to happen. But the reality of the situation is when we step in and lean into the fact that everything is changing and everything is flowing, just like the ocean always has waves, like kind of like a vibe like that. If we really step into it, then what we will start to notice is we'll appreciate things for when we have them. Think about it on a scale of when you start a new relationship, it's so exciting and it's so new and it's like so attractive because you're just like obsessed with this person and they're obsessed with you and endorphins are so high and all of these things. That's inevitably going to change. And for some people, they can get really scared of that because that excitement is going to be gone, because that excitement shifts into knowing. That excitement shifts into security. That excitement shifts into stability, which also moves you into a category of like, maybe you're not looking forward every single day to seeing them. Maybe you're like ready to also invest in yourself while also being with somebody else. And that concept can be really, really, really terrifying because we love riding the high waves. We love riding the waves when the sun is out and everything's shining and great. But what we don't like is when it's an average day. What we don't like is when our brains have time to think. But if we make the impermanence and the change work for us, then the present moment and those lulls that we get into, those everyday cycles that we get into won't feel so boring because everything will have a color to you. Everything will be brighter. Everything will have a reason in your life. Like, okay, so if you have a day where you go, okay, I have to go to work, I have to go to the gym, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, and it's just your everyday routine, we can kind of fall into this like attitude that because everything feels the same, nothing's changing and nothing's happening and we're not growing at all. And that can feel like really, really, really boring. But if we look at it like every single day is a step towards your future, every single day is a step towards the body that you want, every single day is a step towards better health, and it doesn't feel like we're on this never-ending cycle of working and working and working and working out until we inevitably perish. It's about romanticizing the impermanence of your life. Because if you hate your job, that's going to change. If you're not happy in your living situation, it's going to change. If you are happy in your relationship or your living situation, that may change for the better. But it's all about accepting for what it is, because it's also looking at something like it's better to love and have lost than never to love at all. If we know how good it can feel, then we also know that we're worthy of feeling that again. We don't get one feeling or one time or one opportunity. We get multiple opportunities as long as we allow them to exist for us. So if we know that we're worthy of more than one opportunity to fall in love or have a great job or have the dream opportunity, then we will. So again, it goes back to Murphy's Law. The way that you see the world is the way that the world will be yours. Your perception is everything, but your perception of impermanence is one of the most important things, because if you can look at everything and be fearful, if you can be fearful of change and fearful of the next moment and not knowing and all of these unknowns, you are never going to be able to look it down at the ground and say, oh, wow, the leaves are finally changing color. You're never going to be able to see like, wow, we're finally going through a season change. You're never going to be able to appreciate the little moments that life has to offer you, because you're always going to be searching for the big moment, the big acceptance, the big this, the big that, when reality is the journey is the most important part. And if you're not appreciating where you started, every little moment that's gotten you to where you are today, what was the point of doing all of this? Because you were still a person in between this time frame. You were still somebody living and thriving and healing and going through things in this time. So you still deserve to have care and fun and appreciation and to cry when you need to and to have a day where you stay in bed all day when you need to. You still deserve to be appreciated for that time, and you still deserve to appreciate yourself in that time. But if we're always focused on only like what's coming next, what's on the calendar, what's coming up, we are never going to appreciate what's happening. But one thing that we can do is if we step into the concept of impermanence, knowing that everything's changing, we can make that work for us. Change sucks. I hate it. It's my least favorite thing in the entire world. But knowing that how I feel today, mentally, physically, everything, will inevitably change gives me a lot of hope. It gives me hope that things will only get better. It also gives me hope that what I feel and when I'm hurt won't last forever. It also gives me hope that everything always has an end. And if you're in the middle of it, it's because it's not the end. You can't know what the end is. We can't predict it. We can never understand what's going to be coming our way. And I honestly think that that's like one of the most beautiful parts of life, because the plan that we have set out for us is always so much bigger and so much better than we could have ever imagined. The greatest love that you can imagine in your head is nowhere close to the love that you're going to experience, because you believe it because it's going to happen. But if you're only focused on being terrified of change and you only allow yourself to sit in the moment of it all, and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to stay in this horrible job and this bad relationship and this situation because I'm too scared to change, even though everything is already changing. If we accept that impermanence is happening no matter what, whether you want to move or change or not, I feel like it makes it a little bit easier to move into it, doesn't it? Because for me, I know that change is happening, whether I like it or not. So change terrifies me. It's this big idea that is just terrifying and that I hate. But if I know it's happening, because it is happening, whether I like it or not, why would I make myself stay in a situation I don't want to be in? Why would I force myself to be here? Why would I force myself to do something? I know it's going to change. I know at some point it's going to get better. So I'm not going to drag it out longer than it needs to. And if I'm not ready to change it, that's okay. Because it will change at some point. But you have to accept the impermanence as a factor of your life, because once you do, you'll be able to accept everything for what it is. Accept people for when they come in, accept moments and lessons for what they are, accept the good things that you've experienced along with the bad things that you've experienced, because it all leads up to everything. But you need to learn to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the impermanence, enjoy it all, good and bad.